There is a particular quality to the darkness just before a gentle rain begins. It is not the sharp, sudden black of a storm, but a soft, deep, velvety indigo that seems to absorb sound. As the evening settles over the sprawling, forgotten gardens on the edge of the estate, this is the darkness that welcomes you. The air, moments ago simply warm with the fading heat of the day, now shifts. A slight drop in temperature brushes against your skin, a cool, anticipatory whisper. It is the kind of air that smells of damp earth, of crushed green leaves, and the faint, lingering perfume of evening roses. You take a slow, deep breath, filling your lungs with this quiet, impending change, and you begin to walk. The path beneath your feet is made of old, uneven flagstones, their surfaces worn smooth by countless seasons of rain and sun. They are cool under your shoes now, and as you step off the manicured edge of the gravel walkway, the first drop of rain lands on the back of your hand. It is startlingly cool, a single, perfect sphere of water that rests on your skin for a heartbeat before sliding down to disappear into the dark fabric of your sleeve. A moment later, another drop finds the broad, waxy surface of a magnolia leaf nearby, and you hear it, a soft, distinct plip. Then another, and another. The garden begins to sing its quiet overture, a scattered, rhythmic percussion on leaves and stone. The rain does not fall in a sudden downpour. It arrives gently, almost shyly, as if the sky is merely sighing. The drops become more frequent, weaving a fine, shimmering curtain in the air between the shadows of the garden. You do not hurry. There is a destination ahead, a place of warmth and shelter, but the journey itself is part of the comfort. The air grows thick with a scent you remember from childhood, the intoxicating, primal smell of petrichor. It is the smell of the earth drinking deeply, of the microscopic world awakening and stretching after a long, dry afternoon. Every breath you take is a reminder that nature is alive, that you are walking through a space that breathes with you. As you move further down the winding stone path, the foliage closes in around you. Tall, ancient boxwood hedges, their leaves a dark, glossy green even in the dim light, form walls on either side. They have been growing here for generations, their dense branches offering shelter from the wind and the prying eyes of the world. The rain patters softly against their thick foliage, a continuous, soothing murmur. You run your hand lightly along the top of the hedge as you walk, feeling the cool, wet resilience of the leaves. They are saturated now, heavy with the gathering rain, and they release a green, herbaceous scent with every touch. Above you, the sky is a deep, bruised purple, the last light of the twilight fading into the encroaching night. The rain, catching the faint, ambient light, appears as silver threads falling diagonally through the air. You pass beneath a wrought iron arbor, its metal structure painted a dark, muted green that is almost invisible in the gloom. Years ago, someone planted a climbing wisteria here. Now, in the early summer, its long, trailing fronds hang down like wet hair, dripping with collected rainwater. As a gust of cool wind moves through the garden, the wisteria sways slightly, and a small cascade of gathered drops falls to the stone path beneath, creating a sound like a handful of tiny glass beads being dropped onto a drum. The sound is delicate, musical, and strangely hypnotic. It is a secret sound, meant only for the garden and those who walk quietly within it. The path curves gently to the left, following the natural slope of the land. Here, the boxwood hedges give way to a more open, yet still enclosed, space. This is the rose garden, though the blooms themselves are past their peak. The bushes are now heavy with dark, glossy leaves, their thorns catching droplets of rain that glitter like microscopic diamonds. The few late blooming roses that remain are a deep, velvety crimson, their petals beginning to soften and droop under the weight of the water. They look heavy, exhausted, and beautiful. They have given their all to the spring, and now they rest. You stop for a moment, standing in the center of this small, circular clearing, and simply listen. The rain here has a different resonance, falling on the wide, flat surfaces of the rose leaves with a broader, softer thud than the sharp clip on the waxy magnolia. The sky is now a solid, unbroken canopy of deep charcoal, the stars completely hidden behind a thick layer of rain-laden clouds. The light is incredibly low, but your eyes are adjusting. You can see the shapes of things, the soft outlines of the garden, without the harshness of clear definition. It is a world seen through a soft focus lens, all edges blurred, all colors muted into deep, comforting shades of green, brown, and silver. The darkness is not threatening, it is a protective blanket, drawing you inward, away from the distractions of the outside world, focusing your attention entirely on the sounds and smells of the immediate present. The gentle patter of the rain, the cool, damp air on your face, the rich, earthy scent of the soil, these are the only things that exist. As you continue, the path becomes slightly more uneven, the flagstones less defined, merging slowly with the dark, wet earth. The trees here are older, their trunks thick and rough-barked, reaching up to form a loose canopy overhead. The rain takes longer to reach you under this natural roof, falling in thicker, heavier drops that gather on the leaves before releasing. One such drop lands squarely on your shoulder, a sudden, surprising point of cold, but it brings a sense of immediacy, of being truly present in this moment, in this body, in this space. The undergrowth at the base of the trees is thick with ferns and mosses, their fronds a brilliant, almost luminous green against the dark brown of the tree trunks. They drink in the rain with an almost visible thirst, their delicate, lacy structures bowing under the weight of the water. You notice a small stone bench set back into a secluded nook, sheltered partially by the overhanging branches of a large oak. It is covered in a thin layer of moss, a testament to how often it is left untouched by the sun. For a moment, you consider sitting, letting the rain wash over you, but something draws you forward. Perhaps it is the memory of the warmth you are seeking, or perhaps it is just a gentle, intuitive pull toward the only structure for miles. You keep walking, your pace unhurried, your breathing deep and steady, perfectly synchronized with the rhythm of your footsteps and the falling rain. Ahead, through a gap in the dark, leafy branches, you see it. A soft, warm glow, the color of amber honey, breaking the monochromatic darkness of the garden. It is not a bright, harsh light, but a gentle, diffused radiance that seems to emanate from within the very air. As you step closer, the structure reveals itself. It is the greenhouse. The emerald greenhouse. It stands at the end of the path like a glass jewel box set in a bed of dark velvet. The framework is made of old, painted iron, the white paint long since peeled away to reveal patches of dark, reddish rust. It is a structure that speaks of a bygone era, of patience and meticulous care, of a place where time moves at the speed of growing things. The glass panes that make up the walls and the arched roof are not perfectly clear. They are old, slightly imperfect, rippled with the history of their making. The rain clings to the outside of the glass in uneven sheets and droplets, distorting the view of the interior, but the warm, golden light shines through with a magical, inviting intensity. It looks like a lantern left burning in a dark room, a beacon of safety and warmth against the cool, wet night. The sound of the rain changes as you approach. The soft patter on leaves is replaced by a higher, more constant drumming, a rhythmic tapping on hundreds of small glass surfaces. It is a sound that is both complex and monotonous, fascinating to the mind but ultimately soothing, a complex pattern that the brain can easily give up trying to understand and simply let wash over it. You are now at the threshold. The stone path ends at a set of wide, shallow steps made of the same dark, wet stone as the path. They lead up to a small landing, and from there, a single set of double doors. The doors are also made of glass and iron, set into the main structure. They are slightly ajar, pushed open just enough to suggest a welcome. Through the gap, you can see a rush of warm, humid air escaping, carrying with it an intense, overwhelming wave of scent. It is the smell of life, of growth, of 100 different plants all exhaling into the same enclosed, warm space. It smells of damp earth, of green stems, of white and purple flowers, of the heavy, sweet perfume of lilies, and the sharp, clean scent of crushed mint. You stand at the bottom of the steps, letting the rain fall on your shoulders, looking up at the glowing doors. There is a profound sense of arrival, a feeling of having walked exactly where you needed to walk. The world behind you, with its cares and its noise, seems to fall away, muted by the sound of the rain and the density of the dark garden. The world ahead, behind those glass doors, is a world of warmth, of soft shadows, of the quiet, persistent energy of growing things. You are safe here. You are expected. You take a slow, deep breath of the cool, rain-filled air, and then you place your foot on the first stone step. You step onto the first stone stair, and the sound beneath your foot is soft and damp, a muted scrape of sole against rain-darkened stone. Water runs in thin, silver lines along the edges of each step, finding little grooves that time has carved there, moving patiently downward toward the garden path behind you. You climb slowly, one step, then another, feeling the gentle difference between the open garden and the shelter ahead. Behind you, the night is wide and cool. Before you, through the narrow opening of the glass doors, there is warmth. The second step brings you closer to the glow. The third step brings you close enough to feel it. It touches your face first, that slow breath of warm, humid air escaping from inside the greenhouse. It is not the dry heat of a fire or the sharp heat of summer pavement. It is a living warmth. Soft, moist, gentle. It settles against your cheeks and forehead like a warm cloth. It carries the scent of wet leaves and deep soil, of mossy stones and green stems, of something flowering quietly in the dark. You pause on the landing. The rain gathers on your hair, on your shoulders, along the sleeves of your coat. Tiny drops slide down the fabric and fall onto the stone at your feet. Outside, the garden is whispering with rain. Inside, the greenhouse glows like a secret held in glass. For a moment, you simply stand there, not opening the doors wider, not entering yet, just allowing yourself to arrive completely. There is no hurry. There is no schedule waiting for you. No clock pressing its hands against your back. The night has made space for you. The rain has softened the edges of everything. And the greenhouse waits without impatience, its door slightly open, its warm breath moving around you. You place your hand on the iron handle. It is cool from the rain, but not unpleasant. The metal has been shaped by many hands over many years, worn smooth in the places where fingers naturally rest. You can feel small uneven places in it, the slight texture of old paint, the faint roughness where rust has begun to bloom beneath the surface. It feels real. Solid. Like something that has remained through many winters, many summers, many nights just like this one. You pull gently. The door opens with a soft, reluctant sigh. Not a creak. Not a groan, just a slow exhale from old hinges that have learned the language of quiet places. A fuller wave of warm air moves out to greet you. It wraps around your hands, your face, the front of your body. It smells green and alive. You breathe in, slowly, and the breath seems to travel deeper than ordinary air. It fills not just your lungs, but the spaces behind your ribs, the quiet places in your chest where tension has been waiting to be noticed. As you exhale, your shoulders lower, almost without your permission. You step inside. The sound changes immediately. Outside, the rain had been all around you, falling on leaves, stone, soil, and open air. Inside, it is above you. Around you. Held at a distance by old glass. The drops strike the roof in countless tiny rhythms, a delicate tapping that spreads across the arched ceiling like fingertips on 100 window panes. Some drops hit sharply. Some slide. Some gather together and run downward in wandering paths, leaving clear trails through the mist on the glass. The door closes behind you with a gentle click, and the garden outside becomes another world. Not gone. Still visible through rain and glass. Still breathing. Still dark and wet and fragrant. But separated now by a thin, shimmering wall. You are inside the shelter. Inside the warmth. Inside the soft golden light. For a few breaths, you do not move. The greenhouse is larger than it appeared from the garden path. From outside, it had looked like a single glowing room. But now, standing just inside the entrance, you can see that it stretches forward in long, gentle sections, each one divided by curving iron ribs and hanging vines. The arched roof rises high above you, its glass panels reflecting the lantern light in soft, broken patterns. At the peak of the roof, rainwater runs in little rivers down both sides, making the whole ceiling shimmer. The floor is made of old terracotta tiles, deep red-brown and worn smooth in places, uneven in others. Between some of the tiles, fine green moss has found a home, growing in delicate seams that shine with moisture. Your footsteps on the tiles are quieter than you expect. The warmth of the greenhouse seems to absorb sound, wrapping every movement in softness. On either side of the entrance, large clay pots stand in rows, each one holding a different kind of plant. Some are tall and graceful, with long leaves that bend like ribbons. Some are round and dense, their leaves layered tightly together in rich green spirals. Some spill over the sides of their pots in silver-green trails, reaching toward the floor like water frozen in motion. A narrow stone path leads forward through the center of the greenhouse. It is bordered by low beds of dark soil, where small plants grow close to the ground, their leaves shining under the lanterns. The path does not run perfectly straight. It curves gently, as if it were made not for efficiency, but for wandering. You take one slow step forward. Then another. The warmth begins to settle through your clothes. The rain on your coat becomes less cold. Your hands, which had tightened slightly in the outside air, begin to loosen. Your fingers uncurl. Your jaw softens. You did not realize you had been holding yourself so carefully until the greenhouse begins to teach you how to let go. To your right, a long wooden workbench stands beneath a row of fogged glass panes. It is covered with small pots, gardening tools, folded cloths, and shallow trays of seedlings. A pair of old pruning shears rests beside a chipped blue ceramic mug. The mug is empty, but a faint ring of tea stains the bottom, as if someone had been here not long ago and would return soon. The tools are simple and well used. Their wooden handles have darkened where hands have held them over the years. A small trowel lies on its side, its metal blade still dusted with soil. A coil of twine sits nearby, beside a stack of little paper tags with plant names written in careful, faded handwriting. You lean close enough to read one. Moonflower. Another. Lemon balm. Another. Night jasmine. There is something comforting about these names. They do not demand anything. They simply belong to the plants they describe. Quiet names for quiet growing things. Names that seem to slow the mind. Above the workbench, hanging from the iron frame of the greenhouse, are several glass lanterns. Their light is amber and low, not bright enough to erase the shadows, only warm enough to soften them. The flames inside them move gently, stirred by currents of humid air. Their glow touches the leaves, catches in beads of water, and turns each droplet into a tiny golden star. You continue along the path. A fern brushes your sleeve. Its touch is cool, feathery, and light. The frond bends away, then slowly returns to its place, scattering a few drops of water onto the tile. They fall soundlessly, disappearing into the warm air. You pause and look at the fern more closely. Its many leaflets are perfect and delicate, arranged with a patience that no human hand could imitate. Each one holds a tremble of water along its edge. Beyond the fern, the greenhouse opens into a wider central chamber. Here, the roof rises higher, and the plants grow taller. A small tree stands in a large wooden planter at the center of the space. Its trunk is slender but old, twisting slightly as it reaches upward. Its leaves are glossy and dark, and among them hang small white blossoms, not fully open yet, each one shaped like a closed star. The air in this chamber is warmer. A little mist floats near the ground, not thick enough to hide anything, just enough to make the lantern light appear softer. It drifts between the pots and over the terracotta floor, moving almost too slowly to see. The whole place seems to breathe. In one corner, a fountain rests against a wall of stone. It is not grand. It is a simple basin, round and shallow, with water trickling from the mouth of a carved stone leaf. The sound is very quiet, barely more than a thread of water falling into water. It blends with the rain overhead until you cannot tell where one sound ends and the other begins. Rain above. Water beside you. Your breath within you. All of them slow. All of them steady. You walk toward the fountain and sit for a moment on the low stone edge beside it. The stone is warm from the greenhouse air, faintly damp and smooth beneath your hand. You watch the surface of the basin. Each drop from the carved leaf creates a small circle that widens and disappears. Another drop. Another circle. Another disappearance. There is a kind of kindness in that. A little disturbance, accepted by the water, spread outward, softened, and gone. You let your gaze rest there. If any thought comes, it comes gently. And if any thought leaves, it leaves without needing to be followed. The rain continues its patient tapping on the glass roof. Sometimes a larger drop slides down one of the panes above you and trails along the metal frame, leaving a bright path behind it. Sometimes the wind moves outside, and the rain shifts direction, whispering differently against the glass. But there is no harshness in it. No urgency. Only variation inside calm. After a while, you rise. The path continues beyond the central chamber, narrowing again between tall stands of greenery. The leaves here are enormous, some as large as open umbrellas, their surfaces deep emerald and shining. They overlap one another, making small green shelters within the greater shelter of the greenhouse. Beneath them, the shadows are rich and soft. You pass a cluster of broad-leafed plants, and the air changes slightly. A bright, clean scent rises from somewhere nearby, mint, perhaps, or basil, or something in between. You breathe it in and feel your mind clear just enough to notice the pleasant heaviness gathering behind your eyes. Not sleep yet. Not quite. Only the beginning of rest. The kind that arrives when the body believes, finally, that it is safe. You move more slowly now, letting the greenhouse reveal itself without needing to explore it all at once. A vine twists around an iron support beam, its small heart-shaped leaves climbing toward the roof. Water beads along the vine like tiny pearls. Higher above, where the lantern light fades into blue-gray darkness, the vine disappears into the curved framework, as though the greenhouse itself has grown leaves. On the left side of the path, a row of citrus trees grows in large ceramic pots. Their leaves are thick and glossy, and a few small fruits hang among them, pale gold in the lantern light. One of the fruits has fallen onto the soil below, and its peel has split just slightly, releasing a faint sweet sharpness into the air. Orange. Green leaf. Rain. Soil. You stand there for a moment, breathing. The scent is gentle, but it carries a memory of morning, even here in the middle of the night. A reminder that darkness is not the end of anything. It is only another room the world passes through. The greenhouse keeps its own kind of night. Not empty. Not sleeping completely. Just slower. You notice small details now that you missed before. A droplet hanging from the tip of a leaf, swelling gradually until it lets go. A pale root visible through the crack in an old clay pot. A wooden ladder leaning against the far wall, its rungs worn smooth. A stack of folded blankets on a low shelf near the entrance to another chamber. The blankets are neatly arranged, soft-looking, the color of oatmeal and warm gray. Someone has prepared this place for comfort. Not recently, perhaps. Or perhaps very recently. In a place like this, time seems less important. You continue forward until the path turns to the right. Here, the glass wall runs alongside you, and through it you can see the outside garden again. The view is blurred by rain. The hedge beyond the glass is only a dark shape. The trees are taller shadows moving slightly in the wind. Drops race downward across the pane, dividing and joining, changing course unpredictably. You lift a hand and touch the inside of the glass. It is cool beneath your fingertips, even though the room is warm. A thin veil of condensation has gathered there, and your touch leaves a clear oval mark. Through that small clear place, you can see a single branch outside, trembling gently beneath the rain. Then the glass fogs again, and the branch becomes soft and distant. You lower your hand. Inside, a large leaf brushes your shoulder. Outside, the rain keeps falling. Between the two worlds, you stand in comfort. There is no need to choose anything. No need to think ahead. The greenhouse is enough. The next chamber is quieter still. It feels older. The floor changes from terracotta tiles to flat stone slabs, pale gray and irregularly shaped. Moss grows thickly between them, and in some places, tiny leaves have pushed through, making the path feel almost like a forest floor. The lanterns are fewer here, and their light is dimmer, greener, filtered through layers of hanging plants. This is where the orchids grow. They hang in wooden baskets from the iron beams above, suspended at different heights, their roots trailing in pale tangled curtains. Some have blossoms in soft lavender, some in cream, some in the deepest burgundy, almost black in the low light. Their petals look impossibly delicate, like pieces of silk shaped by moonlight. You do not touch them. You only pass beneath them slowly, letting their quiet beauty surround you. The air here is especially humid. It gathers on your skin, not as sweat, but as a soft, comforting veil. Your breathing deepens naturally. The scent is faintly sweet, but not heavy. Floral, mossy, rain-washed. A fragrance that seems made not to impress, but to soothe. A small wooden chair sits near the orchid wall. It is not the armchair you will eventually find. This one is simple, with a woven seat and a curved back. Beside it stands a little table holding a brass mister, a folded linen cloth, and a book with a green cover. The book is closed. A single leaf rests on top of it. You smile softly, without meaning to. Everything here feels paused, not abandoned. As if the person who tends this place stepped away just before you arrived, leaving the lanterns lit, the doors open, the plants breathing in their slow, patient way. Or perhaps the greenhouse tends itself now. Perhaps it has learned, over many years, how to keep warmth in its stones and light in its glass and comfort in its corners. You move on. The path slopes almost imperceptibly downward, and the rain sounds slightly louder here, because the glass roof dips closer overhead. You can see the drops hitting directly above you, bursting into tiny star shapes before sliding away. Each one arrives and disappears so quickly, yet together they create a sound that feels endless. A sound to lean on. A sound to trust. a sound that asks nothing of you. At the end of the orchid chamber, you reach another set of glass doors. These doors are inside the greenhouse, separating one section from the next. Their panes are fogged, and beyond them you can see only a warm blur of amber light. The handles are brass, rounded and smooth, and when you place your hand on one, it is warm. You open the door. A new scent greets you. Jasmine. Soft, sweet, and luminous. The fragrance moves through the air like music played very far away. It is not overwhelming. It is simply present, woven with the rain and the soil and the warmth. You step through and close the door behind you. This room is smaller and more intimate. The ceiling is lower, though still made of glass. Vines trail across it in loose, graceful lines, their leaves silhouetted against the rain-dark sky. Along the walls, shelves hold rows of plants in clay pots, each one labeled with small white markers. In the center of the room, beneath a hanging lantern, stands a round table made of dark wood. On the table is a teapot. Beside it, a cup, a small folded note, and a single candle burning in a glass holder. The candle flame is steady, barely moving. You approach the table slowly, as if entering a quiet conversation already in progress. The teapot is ceramic, deep green, glazed unevenly so that it resembles the surface of a leaf after rain. When you lift the lid just slightly, steam rises. Not much. Just a delicate thread. The tea is still warm. The cup beside it is simple and white, with a thin gold line around the rim. You touch the side of the cup. Warm. You sit in the chair at the table. For the first time since entering the greenhouse, you allow your full weight to settle. The chair is plain but comfortable, its wooden frame sturdy, its seat cushioned with something soft. Your feet rest on the warm stone floor. Your hands rest in your lap. You listen. Rain above you. Rain all around you. The candle beside you. The hidden fountain behind you. Leaves breathing in the warmth. Your own breath, becoming slower. You pour a little tea into the cup. The sound is soft and round, liquid against porcelain. The tea is pale gold, and it carries the scent of chamomile, lemon balm, and perhaps a trace of honey. You lift the cup with both hands, letting the warmth seep into your palms. Before drinking, you look at the folded note. The paper is thick, cream-colored, and slightly textured. Your name is not written on it. No name is. Only a line in gentle handwriting, for whoever arrives in the rain. You sit very still. The words do not surprise you as much as they might have in another place. Here, in this green, glowing shelter, they feel natural. Of course there would be tea for someone who arrives in the rain. Of course there would be a chair, and warmth, and a candle left burning. Some places know what a traveler needs before the traveler does. You unfold the note. Inside, there is only a short message. Rest here as long as you need. The garden keeps gentle time. Nothing is required tonight. You read the words once. Then again. Then a third time, more slowly. Nothing is required tonight. The sentence settles over you like a blanket. You did not know how much you needed to hear it. how much of your mind had been busy carrying tasks, questions, memories, small unfinished worries. But here, with the rain falling steadily above the glass and warm tea in your hands, the words begin to loosen those little knots. Nothing is required tonight. Not answers. Not effort. Not improvement. Not even sleep. Only rest. You take a sip of the tea. It is warm, floral, faintly sweet. It moves down your throat and into your chest, spreading comfort from the inside. You close your eyes for a moment as you swallow. Behind your closed eyelids, the lantern light becomes a soft amber glow, and the rain becomes a wide, gentle sound with no beginning and no end. When you open your eyes again, the greenhouse appears even softer. The candle flame shines through the steam rising from the cup. The table reflects a faint circle of light. The jasmine vines along the wall seem to lean inward, not moving exactly, but present, attentive, like quiet companions. You drink slowly. Between sips, you breathe. Between breaths, you listen. The rain never rushes. It has nowhere to be. It simply falls. And everything it touches becomes part of its rhythm. The roof. The leaves. The garden path. The dark soil. The old glass. The quiet rooms. And you. After a while, you place the cup back on the saucer. There is a soft ceramic sound, small and satisfying. You fold the note carefully and leave it beside the candle. Then you stand, taking one last look around the jasmine room. You know you could stay here. You could sit at this table all night, drinking tea while the rain writes silver lines down the glass. But somewhere deeper within the greenhouse, there is another room waiting. A room with an armchair. A softer place. A place made not for pausing, but for surrendering. You can feel it drawing you forward, not with urgency, but with invitation. So you follow. The path beyond the jasmine room is narrower, almost hidden behind a curtain of hanging leaves. You part them gently with one hand. They are cool and smooth against your palm, and they release a faint green scent as they move. Beyond them, the greenhouse seems to curve into shadow. You step through. The lanterns are spaced far apart now, and the rain is softer overhead, as if the roof here is covered by climbing vines. The light shifts from amber to a deep green gold. The air is warm, almost like breath. Everything feels slower. A cluster of plants with silver-striped leaves grows along the path. Their leaves are shaped like long ovals, dark green with pale lines that catch the light. Nearby, a stand of bamboo rises from a rectangular stone basin filled with water. The bamboo canes are thin and golden, their leaves narrow and whispering faintly whenever the greenhouse air moves. You hear the smallest sound. A leaf touching another leaf. Then stillness. Then rain. You keep walking. At the far end of this curved passage, the space opens again. You can see it now, a larger room, circular, with glass walls on 3 sides and a high domed roof. The rain slides down the dome in shimmering streams. Lanterns hang at different heights, glowing like low stars among the greenery. The floor is covered by a large woven rug in soft earth tones, slightly faded with age. And there, Near the center of the room, facing the rain-streaked glass, is the armchair. It is exactly the kind of chair a tired body hopes for without knowing how to describe it. Deep, wide, soft. Upholstered in dark green velvet that looks almost black in the low light. A folded blanket lies over one arm, thick and woolen, the color of warm cream. A small footstool sits in front of it. Beside the chair is a low table holding a lantern, a book, and a small bowl filled with smooth stones. Behind the chair, a tall palm spreads its fronds like a quiet guardian. To the left, a pot of lavender sits near the rug, its scent faint but calming. To the right, the glass wall reveals the rain outside, falling steadily into darkness. You do not sit immediately. You stand at the edge of the room, taking it in. The chair waits. The rain continues. The plants surround you. And something inside you, something that has been standing for a very long time, begins to understand that it may finally sit down. You walk across the rug. It is soft beneath your feet, absorbing the sound of your steps. You reach the chair and touch the back of it. The velvet is warm and smooth, changing color slightly beneath your fingers. You lift the blanket from the arm and unfold it. It is heavier than it looks. A good heaviness. The kind that tells the body it may stop holding itself together. You lower yourself into the chair. Slowly. Carefully. And the chair receives you completely. Your back meets the cushion. Your shoulders sink. Your legs relax. The footstool is just the right distance away, and when you rest your feet on it, a deeper comfort travels up through your calves, your knees, your thighs. You pull the blanket over your lap, then higher, across your waist, then up to your chest. The warmth gathers around you. The rain gathers above you. The greenhouse gathers around you like a living room made of leaves and glass and patience. For a while, you do nothing. You do not reach for the book. You do not examine the stones. You do not try to understand why this place feels as though it has been waiting for you. You simply sit and breathe. In. Slowly. Out. Gently. The rain taps the domed roof. A larger drop slides down the glass wall in front of you, joining another, then another, until they form a thin stream that wanders downward. Beyond the glass, the garden is almost invisible now, softened into shadow and rain. The world has become small in the best way. There is only this chair, this blanket, this breath, this rain. Your hands rest on the blanket, palms down. The wool rises and falls slightly with your breathing. You notice the sensation of warmth beneath your hands, the texture of the fibers, the quiet weight across your body. You notice the back of your head supported by the chair. The softness under your arms. The absence of needing to move. A lantern flickers gently beside you. The flame inside it is protected by glass, just as you are protected by glass. Outside, rain falls. Inside, warmth remains. Outside, the night stretches wide and dark. Inside, the circle of light is small and calm. You feel the day begin to loosen its hold on you. Not dramatically. Not all at once. Just little by little. A thought slips away. A muscle softens. A breath deepens. Your eyelids grow slightly heavier. The rain keeps counting softly, though it never reaches a number. Tap. Slide. Whisper. Tap. Slide. Whisper. You look toward the book on the table. Its cover is dark green, like the teapot, like the chair, like the world inside this glass sanctuary. There is no title on the front. Only a pressed leaf tucked beneath a ribbon. You do not need to open it yet. Knowing it is there is enough. A story waiting patiently beside you, asking nothing, beginning only when you are ready. The bowl of stones catches your eye next. They are smooth river stones, each one a different shade of gray, brown, cream, and soft green. Some are speckled. Some are striped. They look cool and solid, shaped by water over a long, patient time. You reach out and pick one up. It fits perfectly in your palm. The stone is cool at first, then slowly warms with your touch. Its surface is smooth, with one tiny ridge along the side. You close your fingers around it gently, not gripping, just holding, a small anchor. A simple weight. Something from the earth, resting in your hand while rain falls on glass above you. You breathe in. You breathe out. The stone warms. The blanket holds. The chair supports. The greenhouse breathes. There is nothing to fix here. Nothing to chase. Nothing to prove. The night does not ask you to be anything other than tired. And tired is allowed. Tired is welcome. Tired is safe. The rain deepened slightly, growing fuller on the glass roof. Not louder in a way that disturbs, but richer, more complete. The sound becomes a soft, continuous veil. A curtain. A lullaby. It covers the greenhouse, covers the garden, covers the path you walked, covers the steps, the door, the dark hedges, the roses, the stone bench under the oak. All of it now belongs to the rain. And you belong to the warmth. Your eyes drift toward the glass dome above. Through it, there are no stars visible, only the moving darkness of rain clouds and the silver paths of water. Yet the absence of stars feels peaceful. The sky is resting too. Hidden. Wrapped. Quiet. You let your head settle back. The chair seems to adjust around you, though perhaps it is only your body releasing into it. The muscles along your spine soften. Your shoulders drop another small degree. Your hands become still. The stone rests in your palm like a tiny moon. Somewhere behind you, a leaf releases a droplet. It falls into soil. A small sound. Then nothing. Then rain. You close your eyes. Not to sleep yet. Only to feel the room more clearly. With your eyes closed, the greenhouse becomes sound and warmth and scent. Rain above. Water in the distant fountain. The faint green fragrance of leaves. The soft sweetness of jasmine carried from the room behind you. The earthiness of terracotta and wet soil. The quiet flame of the lantern. Your breath. In. And out. In. And out. The rhythm is not forced. It arrives on its own, matching the room, matching the rain, matching the slow inner pace of things that grow in darkness. You imagine the greenhouse from above, a glowing emerald shape in the middle of the wet garden, its glass roof shining under rain, its iron frame dark and steady, its warm interior filled with leaves and lantern light. You are inside it, a small peaceful presence in a chair, wrapped in a blanket, held by the night. You are not outside in the rain anymore. You are not wandering. You have arrived, and arrival, when it is true, does not need announcement. It is felt in the breath, in the bones, in the way the body stops bracing for what comes next. For now, nothing comes next. Only this. Only the greenhouse. Only the rain. Only the slow beginning of rest. You open your eyes halfway. The lantern light is blurry now, softened by tiredness. The leaves around you seem to glow at their edges. The rain on the glass becomes a moving pattern with no meaning and no demand. You could watch it forever. Or you could stop watching. Either would be fine. Your fingers loosen around the stone, but it remains in your palm. The blanket feels heavier. The air feels warmer. The chair feels deeper. And somewhere, far back in the greenhouse, perhaps in the first room near the entrance, perhaps on the workbench beneath the fogged panes, perhaps nowhere at all, you imagine that the old glass doors have fully settled closed behind you. The outside world is safe where it is. You are safe where you are. The rain will keep falling. The plants will keep breathing. The lanterns will keep their small golden circles of light, and you may rest here, as long as you need. The garden keeps gentle time. Nothing is required tonight. For a few long moments, you let those words return to you, not as something to read, but as something the whole greenhouse seems to be saying. Nothing is required tonight. Nothing is required tonight. Nothing is required tonight. The words dissolve into the rain, and the rain dissolves into quiet, and the quiet settles over you, warm and green and endlessly kind. The warmth in the domed room feels constant now, settled into every corner like a soft, invisible blanket. Your body has given up its last bit of resistance to the chair, sinking into the velvet cushions until you can hardly tell where you end and the chair begins. The air around you moves in small, imperceptible currents, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine mixed with the cool, clean smell of rain touching old glass. On the table beside you, the single lantern continues to hold its circle of amber light. Its glass chimney is slightly fogged near the top, softened by the moisture in the room, making the flame inside appear round and gentle, like a small star captured in a bell jar. The light travels out across the polished wood of the small table, illuminating the dark green book that sits beside the bowl of river stones. Your hand, still resting on the woolen blanket, moves slowly. There is no rush in the movement. You lift your fingers and let them rest on the cover of the book. The dark green cloth binding is soft with age, slightly frayed along the spine where many hands have lifted it over many years. It is cold for a second against your skin, then instantly takes on the warmth of your hand. You trace the shape of the pressed leaf tucked beneath the ribbon bookmark. It is a fern frond, flattened and dried to a deep shade of olive, its delicate lacy structure preserved with complete precision. Every tiny leaflet is intact, holding the memory of a summer afternoon from long ago. Slowly, gently, you open the cover. The pages are thick and cream-colored, with deckled edges that feel soft and slightly rough against your thumb. They smell faintly of old paper, dried lavender, and cedar wood. As you turn the first page, there is no printed text, no long paragraphs to read, no story that demands your mind to stay sharp or follow a plot. Instead, the book is a quiet record of the greenhouse itself. On the first page, mounted carefully on the heavy paper, is a single pressed flower. It is a night-blooming cereus, its thin, ribbon-like petals arranged in a perfect star. Beneath it, written in faded black ink with an old fountain pen, is a short line, "First bloom of the summer rain." July 14th. You stare at the delicate ink lines. The handwriting is elegant and slow, the letters rounded and unhurried. You turn to the next page. Here is a silver-toned ginkgo leaf, shaped like a tiny open fan. Its surface catches the amber lantern light, revealing tiny parallel veins running from the stem to the curved edge. Below it, the same quiet ink speaks again, ginkgo in autumn. Caught by the glass before the wind, page after page, the book presents a quiet gallery of green things that once lived, bloomed, and were held gently in time. A pressed sprig of rosemary that still releases a faint, resinous perfume when touched. A pale purple orchid petal, translucent as rice paper. A cluster of tiny blue forget-me-nots, preserved so well they look as if they were plucked only yesterday. There is something profoundly soothing about turning these pages. It requires no thought. It is an exercise in pure observation, a gentle reminding that beauty does not need to be loud or fast. It exists in quiet corners, preserved by patient hands, waiting for someone to sit in a green armchair on a rainy night and notice it. You let your fingers rest on a page holding a single, wide maple leaf, turned golden brown by time. Your breathing slows even further. The physical act of turning the pages becomes a rhythmic movement that matches the sound of the rain above. Turn. Listen. Breathe. Turn, listen. Breathe. After a few moments, you gently close the book, leaving the green ribbon resting across the closed cover. You let your hand fall back onto your lap, sinking into the thick wool of the blanket. You do not need to look at any more pages. The spirit of the book remains with you, the sense that everything in this greenhouse is cared for, remembered, and safe. You turn your gaze upward, toward the glass dome above your head. The rain has established a deep, complex melody now. Outside, the night sky must be entirely dark, but here beneath the glass, the world is illuminated by the soft glow of the hanging lanterns and the ambient warmth of the interior. Looking up at the curved panes of glass is like looking at a living canvas of water and light. The warmth in the domed room feels constant now, settled into every corner like a soft, invisible blanket. Your body has given up its last bit of resistance to the chair, sinking into the velvet cushions until you can hardly tell where you end and the chair begins. The air around you moves in small, imperceptible currents, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine mixed with the cool, clean smell of rain touching old glass. On the table beside you, the single lantern continues to hold its circle of amber light. Its glass chimney is slightly fogged near the top, softened by the moisture in the room, making the flame inside appear round and gentle, like a small star captured in a bell jar. The light travels out across the polished wood of the small table, illuminating the dark green book that sits beside the bowl of river stones. Your hand, still resting on the woolen blanket, moves slowly. There is no rush in the movement. You lift your fingers and let them rest on the cover of the book. The dark green cloth binding is soft with age, slightly frayed along the spine where many hands have lifted it over many years. It is cold for a second against your skin, then instantly takes on the warmth of your hand. You trace the shape of the pressed leaf tucked beneath the ribbon bookmark. It is a fern frond, flattened and dried to a deep shade of olive, its delicate lacy structure preserved with complete precision. Every tiny leaflet is intact, holding the memory of a summer afternoon from long ago. Slowly, gently, you open the cover. The pages are thick and cream-colored, with deckled edges that feel soft and slightly rough against your thumb. They smell faintly of old paper, dried lavender, and cedar wood. As you turn the first page, there is no printed text, no long paragraphs to read, no story that demands your mind to stay sharp or follow a plot. Instead, the book is a quiet record of the greenhouse itself. On the first page, mounted carefully on the heavy paper, is a single pressed flower. It is a night-blooming cereus, its thin, ribbon-like petals arranged in a perfect star. Beneath it, written in faded black ink with an old fountain pen, is a short line, "First bloom of the summer rain." July 14th. You stare at the delicate ink lines. The handwriting is elegant and slow, the letters rounded and unhurried. You turn to the next page. Here is a silver-toned ginkgo leaf, shaped like a tiny open fan. Its surface catches the amber lantern light, revealing tiny parallel veins running from the stem to the curved edge. Below it, the same quiet ink speaks again, ginkgo in autumn. Caught by the glass before the wind, page after page, the book presents a quiet gallery of green things that once lived, bloomed, and were held gently in time. A pressed sprig of rosemary that still releases a faint, resinous perfume when touched. A pale purple orchid petal, translucent as rice paper. A cluster of tiny blue forget-me-nots, preserved so well they look as if they were plucked only yesterday. There is something profoundly soothing about turning these pages. It requires no thought. It is an exercise in pure observation, a gentle reminding that beauty does not need to be loud or fast. It exists in quiet corners, preserved by patient hands, waiting for someone to sit in a green armchair on a rainy night and notice it. You let your fingers rest on a page holding a single, wide maple leaf, turned golden brown by time. Your breathing slows even further. The physical act of turning the pages becomes a rhythmic movement that matches the sound of the rain above. Turn. Listen. Breathe. Turn. Listen. Breathe. After a few moments, you gently close the book, leaving the green ribbon resting across the closed cover. You let your hand fall back onto your lap, sinking into the thick wool of the blanket. You do not need to look at any more pages. The spirit of the book remains with you, the sense that everything in this greenhouse is cared for, remembered, and safe. You turn your gaze upward, toward the glass dome above your head. The rain has established a deep, complex melody now. Outside, the night sky must be entirely dark, but here beneath the glass, the world is illuminated by the soft glow of the hanging lanterns and the ambient warmth of the interior. Looking up at the curved panes of glass is like looking at a living canvas of water and light. Directly above you, at the peak of the dome, the rain hits with small, crisp sounds, talk, thrum, patter. The drops gather quickly on the smooth curve of the glass, forming clear pools that swell until gravity pulls them downward. They branch out into little rivers that race down the sloped panes, following the dark iron ribs of the framework. Some streams move fast, darting like silver snakes down to the edge of the roof. Others move slowly, pausing as they meet small imperfections in the old glass, weaving left and right, joining other streams until they become heavy enough to slide away. When two streams join, they leave behind a clear, white path through the condensation, through which you can see the deep indigo darkness of the night sky outside. The sound layer is rich and multi-layered. There is the high-pitched tink-tink-tink of individual raindrops hitting the high, exposed glass near the center of the dome. There is the deeper, softer shh where the rain hits the thick layers of ivy and climbing vines that hug the outer sides of the greenhouse walls. The leaves break the fall of the water, turning the sharp drops into a fine, whispering mist that trickles down through the green foliage. And beneath it all, there is the steady, resonant hum of the garden outside, the sound of millions of drops falling on wet soil, on grass, on dark tree trunks, and on the quiet surface of the garden path you walked earlier. It creates a low, continuous foundation of sound, a white noise so pure and natural that it seems to sweep away every stray thought from your mind. Your brain stops trying to process the sound as separate events. The individual taps and slides blur together into a single, rolling ocean of rain sound. It feels as if the rain is washing not just the outside of the glass, but the inside of your mind as well, sweeping away the dust of the day, the noise of conversations, the weight of expectations, and the quiet anxieties that build up during busy hours. With every drop that hits the glass, a small knot of tension releases in your body. You begin to notice your own breathing, feeling how effortlessly it aligns with the room. As you breathe in, you feel your stomach and chest expand gently against the weight of the blanket. The air entering your nose is cool at first, then warmed by your lungs, filled with the rich, earthy aromas of the greenhouse. As you breathe out, your body settles deeper into the velvet armchair. Your head rests comfortably against the high back of the chair, the muscles in your neck completely relaxed, no longer holding any tension. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Inhale the green warmth. Exhale the quiet night. You allow your attention to travel down through your body, checking in with each part of yourself in the slow, forgiving light of the room. You notice your forehead. The small lines that form between your brows during the day, from squinting at screens, from thinking, from worrying, are completely smooth now. The skin is relaxed, bathed in the amber glow of the lantern. You notice your eyes. Behind your eyelids, your eyes are quiet and still, no longer searching, no longer reading, no longer scanning the world for information. They are resting in darkness, held by the gentle light around you. You notice your jaw. It is unclasped and soft. Your tongue rests naturally against the floor of your mouth. Your lips are slightly parted, letting your breath move in and out without effort. You notice your shoulders. They have dropped far down from your ears, heavy and completely supported by the chair. All the weight you carry throughout the week, the responsibilities, the hurry, the need to be somewhere or do something, has slipped off your shoulders and fallen away onto the soft rug below. You notice your hands. Your left hand rests open on the wool blanket, fingers slightly curled, relaxed and empty. Your right hand holds the smooth river stone gently, feeling its cool weight becoming warm, matching your own body temperature. There is no need to squeeze it, no need to grip. It just rests there, a quiet companion from the earth. You notice your legs and feet. Supported by the footstool, your legs feel heavy and warm. The tiredness in your calves and ankles is changing from an ache into a pleasant, sleepy heaviness. Your toes are warm beneath the blanket. Your whole body has become like the greenhouse itself, a quiet space, protected from the storm, filled with warmth, holding life gently, asking for nothing. From where you sit, your eyes drift toward the left side of the circular room. There, set into an archway made of dark, moss-covered brick, is a low step leading down into a small, sunken alcove. The alcove is dimly lit by a single floor lantern made of wrought iron and frosted glass. In the center of this small room rests a shallow, circular pond, built directly into the stone floor. The surface of the water is still as black glass, reflecting the tiny amber point of light from the floor lantern. Floating on the surface are large, round water lily pads, their edges slightly turned up, dark green against the dark water. And among them, rising just an inch above the surface, are white night-blooming water lilies. Unlike flowers that open for the sun, these lilies wait for the twilight. They bloom only in the dark, opening their long, slender white petals to the night air, releasing a subtle, clean scent that smells faintly of vanilla and wet stone. You watch them from your chair. The petals are completely still, save for the faintest movement whenever a vibration from the rain on the glass roof travels down through the brick archway and into the water. A tiny ripple, no thicker than a thread, forms around the stem of the lily, moves slowly out toward the edge of the pond, and disappears against the stone wall. Another drop falls from a hanging fern above the pond. Plop. A small circle of light dances across the dark water. The white petals catch the movement, shimmering for a second in the low light, then return to complete rest. There is a lesson in the water lilies. They do not strive to open. They do not force their petals outward. They simply respond to the dark, unfolding naturally when the light grows soft, existing in perfect harmony with the night. In this room, surrounded by glass and rain, you are allowed to do the same. You do not need to work at relaxing. You do not need to force yourself to fall asleep. You only need to exist here, opening to the quiet, letting the night do its work around you. The air in the greenhouse seems to thicken slightly, not with heat, but with a deep, comforting richness. The humidity holds the scents close to the ground, the damp moths on the brick archway, the sweet vanilla of the water lilies, the sharp green clarity of crushed pine needles from the trees outside the glass, and the warm, familiar smell of old wool and velvet. The sound of the rain outside changes tone slightly. The wind in the garden must have softened, because the rhythmic tapping on the dome overhead turns into a gentler, more continuous purr. It sounds like water falling through a sieve, a soft, unbroken hush that fills every corner of the room. Hush. 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 It is the sound the world makes when it is taking care of itself. The rain feeds the roots of the ancient oaks in the garden. It fills the streams. It washes the leaves clean. It fills the air with moisture so the ferns inside the glass can thrive. Everything is being nourished. Everything is being tended to. And you, sitting in this warm velvet chair, are part of that same tender care. Your eyelids feel heavier now. The lantern on the table seems a little dimmer, its amber light expanding into a soft, hazy glow that fills your vision with warmth. You do not close your eyes completely yet. You simply let them rest at half-mast, gazing out through the glass wall at the dark garden beyond. Out there, in the dark, the trees are swaying slowly. You can see their broad silhouettes against the slightly lighter gray of the rain clouds. They bow gently to the wind, then return to their upright stance, rooted deeply in the earth, undisturbed by the weather. They have stood through hundreds of rains like this one. They know that night is not a time of loss, but a time of gathering strength, a time of quiet growth that happens out of sight, beneath the dark soil. Inside the glass, you are held in the same quiet rhythm. A small leaf from a hanging vine near your chair detaches itself slowly. It has finished its season, fulfilled its purpose. It floats down through the warm air, turning twice in a slow, graceful spiral, before landing silently on the rug near your feet. It drops without drama, without noise, but simply letting go when the time is right. You feel a similar letting go happening inside your mind. A thought about yesterday floats up, a memory of a task, a conversation, a small piece of work, and like the leaf, it turns slowly in your mind, loses its weight, and settles softly into the background, no longer needing your attention. Another thought about tomorrow appears, a plan, a question, a thing to be done, and it too floats down through the warm, rain-filled air, landing gently beside the first, quiet and still. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. Nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be planned. The greenhouse holds the space. The glass holds the rain. The chair holds your body. And the night holds everything else. You take another slow, deep breath, letting the sweet air fill your lungs completely. You hold it for a comfortable second at the top of the breath, feeling the full, rich life inside your chest, and then you release it slowly through your mouth with a faint, quiet sigh. Sighing out the last lingering thoughts. Sighing into the softness of the velvet. Sighing into the endless rhythm of the rain. The lantern flame gives a tiny, gentle pulse, as if acknowledging your sigh. The shadows on the curved wall shift slightly, long and soft, reaching out like dark green arms to wrap around the circular room. The space feels smaller now, more intimate, as if the walls have drawn closer to shield you from the vastness of the outside night. You rest your head back against the cushion, turning it slightly to the side so your cheek rests against the soft velvet fabric. It feels warm and smooth against your skin. From this angle, you can see the base of the glass wall where it meets the terracotta floor. Small beads of water have gathered on the inside of the glass, formed by the warm air meeting the cool rain outside. They sit there like tiny clear pearls, catching the amber light, until one grows too heavy and slides down to join the thin line of water at the bottom. You watch one drop. It stays still for a long time, trembling slightly with the sound of the rain overhead. Then it begins to move. It glides down 3 inches, pauses on a speck of dust, gathers another tiny drop beside it, and then slides smoothly all the way to the base of the window, going home to the water below. Simple. Effortless. You close your eyes now. Not because you are forcing sleep, but because your eyelids have simply become too heavy to hold open. And behind your closed eyes, the world remains just as warm, just as safe, just as full of peace. The sound of the rain takes over completely now. Without the visual world to focus on, your hearing grows soft and deep. The tapping on the glass dome becomes a gentle hand patting a blanket. The trickle of the fountain in the distance becomes a slow lullaby. The faint rustle of leaves becomes a whisper of safety. You are here. You are safe. You are warm. The rain will fall all night long. The garden will drink. The greenhouse will glow. And you may rest deeply and completely, held in the emerald heart of the rain. With your eyes closed, the greenhouse does not disappear. It becomes something else entirely. It becomes a world made of sound and warmth and scent, a world that exists behind your eyelids, painted in soft shades of amber and deep emerald. The rain is no longer outside of you. It is inside your mind, washing gently over every thought, every memory, every small worry that tried to cling to the edges of your consciousness. The velvet chair has become more than furniture. It is a cradle, a nest, a safe harbor built specifically for this moment, for this night, for you. The blanket across your body feels heavier now, not in a way that burdens, but in a way that anchors. It tells your body, you may stop now. You may let go. You are held. Your breathing has found its own rhythm, independent of any effort. It moves like the tide, slow and predictable, rising and falling with a patience that has existed since the beginning of time. Each inhale draws in the warm, plant-filled air of the greenhouse. Each exhale releases a little more of the day's weight into the soft darkness around you. In this space behind your closed eyes, images begin to form. Not sharp images, not demanding images, but soft, drifting impressions, like leaves floating on the surface of a still pond. You see the shape of a fern frond, uncurling slowly in the dark. You see a single drop of water hanging from a leaf, trembling, then falling. You see the amber glow of the lantern spreading outward like warm honey through water. You see the dark green of the velvet chair merging with the dark green of the leaves until there is no boundary between them. These images do not require you to follow them. They do not tell a story that needs to be understood. They simply appear, linger for a moment like a breath held gently, and then dissolve back into the soft darkness from which they came. And through it all, the rain continues. Tap. Slide. Whisper. Tap. Slide. Whisper. It is the most constant thing in the world now. More constant than your heartbeat. More constant than your breath. It is the sound of the universe caring for the earth, one drop at a time. You imagine the rain falling on the garden outside. It falls on the broad leaves of the hostas, making them shine like polished jade. It falls on the rough bark of the ancient oak trees, seeping into the deep cracks where small insects sleep. It falls on the stone path you walked earlier, filling the tiny imperfections in the rock, making the whole path gleam like a river of dark glass. It falls on the roses, washing the dust from their petals, making their scent richer and deeper for the morning. The rain does not choose where to fall. It falls everywhere. It gives without asking. It nourishes without expectation. And in this greenhouse, surrounded by glass and greenery, you are being nourished in the same way. Not by water on your skin, but by peace in your mind. by safety in your heart, by stillness in your body. A gentle warmth begins to spread from the center of your chest outward. It moves slowly, like honey pouring from a jar, thick and golden and sweet. It travels up into your shoulders, melting away the last traces of tension. It moves down your arms, into your elbows, your wrists, your palms, your fingers. Each fingertip feels heavy and warm, as if wrapped in invisible wool. The warmth continues downward. It flows into your stomach, soft and comforting. It moves into your hips, your thighs, your knees. It travels down your calves, into your ankles, your feet, your toes. Every part of your body is being touched by this gentle, internal sunlight. You are not burning. You are not hot. You are simply warm, like a stone that has sat in the sun all day and now holds that warmth into the cool night. Your mind begins to feel spacious. The thoughts that usually crowd together like busy birds on a wire have flown away. The ones that remain are slow and solitary, drifting across the open sky of your consciousness like single clouds on a calm day. You watch them without reaching for them. You acknowledge them without holding them. And then, gently, you let them pass. There is a thought about the morning. It floats by like a white feather. You do not catch it. It drifts away. There is a feeling of gratitude. It settles like a soft leaf on water. You do not cling to it. It floats gently. There is a memory of rain from childhood. It appears like a faint reflection in a puddle. You do not step into it. It ripples and fades. This is the art of resting. Not fighting the thoughts. Not chasing the peace. Simply allowing everything to be as it is, knowing that the rain, the greenhouse, the chair, and the night are all working together to hold you in perfect stillness. Somewhere in the deeper parts of the greenhouse, a plant releases its scent more strongly. It is the night-blooming jasmine, opening its small white flowers to the darkness. The fragrance is sweet but not cloying, fresh but not sharp. It moves through the air like a silent song, a melody without notes, a poem without words. It wraps around you, adding another layer of comfort to the warmth of the blanket and the softness of the chair. You imagine the jasmine vines growing along the glass walls outside your room. You imagine their small green buds, tight and closed during the day, now slowly unfurling in the cool, rain-washed air. Each petal opens with a patience that humans have forgotten. They do not rush. They do not worry about being late. They simply open when the time is right, releasing their fragrance as a gift to the night, to the rain, to anyone who is quiet enough to receive it. You are quiet enough. You are still enough. You are receiving. The rain on the glass dome above you changes its pattern again. The wind outside must have shifted, because now the drops are falling at a slight angle, striking the glass with a softer, more slanting rhythm. The sound is like fingers drumming gently on a table, a random pattern that never repeats but always feels familiar. Patter, patter, slide. Pause. Patter, slide, slide. Pause. Your mind tries to predict the next sound, but it cannot. The rain is too wild for prediction, too free for patterns. And in that unpredictability, there is a deep freedom. You do not need to know what comes next. You only need to be here for what is happening now. Now there is rain. Now there is warmth. Now there is breath. Now there is rest. That is enough. That has always been enough. A soft drowsiness begins to pull at the edges of your awareness. It is not a sudden wave that crashes over you. It is a gentle tide that rises slowly, inch by inch, covering the shore of your consciousness with soft, wet sand. Your thoughts become slower. Your reactions become softer. The boundary between being awake and being asleep becomes thin and porous, like mist that you can walk through without getting wet. In this liminal space, you begin to feel the presence of the greenhouse itself. Not as a building, not as glass and iron and wood, but as a living entity, a gentle guardian, a silent friend who has waited through many nights just to hold someone like you in its warm, green arms. You imagine the greenhouse breathing. The plants inside exhale oxygen into the warm air, and you breathe it in. You exhale carbon dioxide, and the plants breathe it in. A perfect, silent exchange. A cycle of giving and receiving that has existed since the first green thing grew on the earth. You are part of this cycle now. You are not separate from the garden. You are woven into it, connected by breath, by warmth, by the shared experience of this rainy night. This connection brings a profound sense of belonging. You do not need to earn your place here. You do not need to prove your worth. You simply exist, and that is enough for the greenhouse. That is enough for the rain. That is enough for the night. Your body feels heavier now, sunk deep into the velvet cushions. The chair has molded itself around your shape, supporting every curve, every angle, every place where tension used to live. Your arms rest on the soft wool of the blanket, your hands open and relaxed. The river stone is still in your palm, but you have forgotten it is there. It has become part of your hand, part of the warmth, part of the stillness. Your legs are completely supported by the footstool. The muscles in your calves, which often tighten after a long day of walking or standing, have softened into a state of complete surrender. Your feet are warm inside your socks, your toes relaxed and still. There is no need to move them. No need to shift your weight. The chair holds you. The blanket covers you. The night protects you. A faint, pleasant tingling begins in your fingertips and toes. It is the sensation of blood flowing freely, of nerves resting, of the body's natural healing processes beginning their quiet work. This tingling is not uncomfortable. It is a sign that you are letting go, that the barriers between your conscious mind and your resting body are dissolving like sugar in warm tea. The rain continues its endless conversation with the glass. Each drop is a word. Each slide is a sentence. Each pause is a breath, and together they form a story that has no beginning and no end, a story that simply is, like the earth, like the sky, like the green things that grow in the dark. You do not need to understand the story. You only need to listen to its rhythm. And in that listening, you find a peace that is deeper than thought, quieter than words, more lasting than any moment of happiness you have chased during the day. This peace is not something you create. It is something you allow. It is already here, waiting beneath the noise of your mind, beneath the of your day, beneath the worries that cling like burrs to your thoughts. The rain has washed them away. The warmth has softened them. The greenhouse has held them until they dissolved into nothing. Now there is only this: the soft darkness behind your eyes, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the endless music of the rain, the warm weight of the blanket, the soft support of the chair, the sweet scent of jasmine and green leaves, the quiet presence of the greenhouse, watching over you like a silent guardian. You are safe, you are held, you are resting. And as these words settle into your mind, they do not feel like thoughts. They feel like truths, like facts of the universe, like the rain falling, like the plants breathing, like the night deepening. You are safe. The rain whispers it against the glass. You are held. The chair murmurs it beneath your body. You are resting. The blanket sings it across your skin. And you believe them. Not with your mind, which can doubt and question, but with your body, which knows the truth of comfort when it feels it. Your body knows that it is safe. Your body knows that it is held. Your body knows that it is resting. And so, you let go a little more. You let go of the need to be aware. You let go of the need to listen actively. You let go of the need to feel the blanket or the chair or the stone in your hand. These things are still there. They have not disappeared. But they have become part of the background, like the horizon or the sky or the earth beneath your feet. They are the foundation upon which your rest is built, and you no longer need to look at the foundation to know it is holding you. Your breathing slows even further. The space between each inhale and exhale grows longer, like a gentle pause between the notes of a slow, sad song. In these pauses, there is nothing. No thought. No feeling. No sensation, just pure, empty stillness. And in that stillness, there is a peace so deep it has no name. The rain continues to fall. The greenhouse continues to glow. The plants continue to breathe. And you continue to rest. There is no destination to reach. No goal to achieve. No place to be other than here. No time to keep other than now. The clock on the wall, if there is one, has stopped. The hours have dissolved. The minutes have melted away. There is only this endless, green, rain-filled moment, stretching out in all directions like a calm sea. You are floating on this sea. Not moving, not struggling. Just being carried by the gentle current of rest. The water is warm. The sky is soft. The air is sweet. And you are safe. So safe. So held. So rested. The drowsiness has now become a soft veil, draped over your mind, filtering out the sharp edges of awareness, leaving only the gentle, blurred contours of peace. You are not asleep yet. But you are no longer fully awake. You are in the threshold, the doorway, the quiet space between worlds where magic happens without fanfare, where healing occurs without effort, where rest becomes its own kind of awakening. In this space, you might dream. Not the vivid, story-filled dreams of deep sleep, but the soft, impressionistic dreams of drifting. A flash of green light. A sensation of floating. A memory of rain on a childhood window. A feeling of being small and safe in a large, protective space. These dreams do not demand your attention. They come and go like clouds, leaving no trace behind. And through it all, the rain continues. Tap. Slide. Whisper. Tap. Slide. Whisper. It is the lullaby of the earth, the song of the sky, the music of the night. And it is playing just for you, in this greenhouse, on this rainy evening, in this moment of perfect, green peace. You are here. You are resting. You are safe. And that is all you need to know. Time has changed inside the greenhouse. It has not stopped. It has simply loosened. It moves now the way water moves through moss, slowly, without direction, finding every small space and filling it gently. There is no hour here. No minute. Only the rain, and the warmth, and the soft rise and fall of your breathing beneath the wool blanket. Somewhere far above the glass dome, the clouds have settled in for the night. They have no plans to leave. They will stay until morning, unhurried, releasing their rain in slow, patient measures over the dark garden. And because they will stay, the sound will stay. The tapping, the sliding, the whispering. It will continue long after you have stopped listening, long after your thoughts have gone quiet, long after your body has forgotten where it ends and the chair begins. You do not open your eyes, but you sense that the room has grown dimmer. The lanterns have burned lower now. Their flames have shrunk to small, steady points of gold, no longer reaching far into the room, only holding a soft circle of light around themselves. The far corners of the dome chamber have surrendered to shadow, and the shadows here are not empty. They are green. They are full of leaves. They are the color of deep forest at dusk, the color of moss under stone, the color of quiet. This dimming is a kindness. It tells your body that the day is truly finished. Light, even gentle light, keeps a small part of the mind alert, watching, waiting. But as the lanterns lower themselves, that watchful part of you begins to close its eyes as well. It has been standing guard for a long time. It has been checking, planning, remembering, preparing. Now, in this softened room, with the rain steady overhead and the plants breathing all around, it finally sits down. It rests its back against the warm glass. It lets its shoulders fall. And it sleeps. You feel the difference immediately, though you cannot name it. Something inside you has stopped holding, something that had been braced, quietly, for hours or days or years, has released. It leaves behind a spreading softness in your chest, a widening space where tightness used to live. You breathe into that space. It grows a little larger. You breathe again. Larger still. The greenhouse holds you while this happens. It does not comment. It does not congratulate you. It simply continues its slow green work, the way it has every night, the way it will every night after this one. Roots drinking. Leaves breathing. Water rising through stems in movements too slow for any eye to see. You are part of that slowness now. Your heartbeat has settled into a calm, even rhythm. Your pulse is quiet in your wrists, in your throat, in your temples. Your blood moves warm and unhurried through your body, carrying rest into every small place that asked for it. And still, the rain falls. It has found a deeper voice now. The wind has gone entirely still outside, and without the wind, the rain falls straight down, evenly, meeting the glass at the same angle across the whole wide dome. The sound becomes smoother, more continuous, less like separate drops and more like a single long breath of water, exhaled slowly across the roof of the world. It is the sound of a hand smoothing a bedsheet. It is the sound of a page turning in a book you will never need to finish. It is the sound the night makes when it is tucking the earth in. Beneath that long, smooth sound, small details continue. A drop falls from the edge of a hanging basket and lands in the soil of a pot below with a soft, hollow thump. A leaf, weighted with condensation, bends slowly downward until the water runs off its tip, then rises again, relieved. Somewhere near the orchid chamber, water finds a seam in the old iron gutter and trickles down inside the wall, a thin, secret stream, singing quietly to itself. These sounds do not disturb the silence. They are made of silence. They are the silence, moving. Your awareness drifts outward, gently, without effort. It moves out of the chair, across the woven rug, past the low table with its lantern and its book of pressed leaves. It moves to the archway to the sunken alcove, where the white water lilies float on their black mirror, fully open now, their petals wide, their pale faces turned upward to the rain-streaked glass. They are at their most beautiful in this hour. No one is there to see them. They bloom anyway. Your awareness drifts further, back through the curved passage where the bamboo stands in its stone basin. The bamboo is perfectly still. Its narrow leaves hang motionless, dark against dark. The water in the basin is smooth as poured glass, holding one small reflected lantern flame at its center like a coin dropped into a wishing well. Further still, into the jasmine room, where the candle on the round table has burned down to a soft golden pool. The teapot is cool now. The cup sits where you left it. The folded note rests beside the candle, its message already delivered, its work already done. Nothing is required tonight. The jasmine has opened fully. Dozens of small white stars along the vines, each one releasing its fragrance into the warm dark. The scent moves slowly through the greenhouse, room by room, curling around iron beams, drifting over terracotta pots, finding its way at last into the dome chamber where you rest, settling over you like a second blanket, finer than the first. You breathe it in without knowing you are doing so. Your awareness drifts further back, through the orchid chamber, beneath the hanging baskets and their pale trailing roots. The orchids sleep in their own way, petals unmoving, colors muted in the low light. Lavender, cream, deep burgundy. They ask nothing. They have asked nothing for years. They simply hold their shapes in the humid dark and wait for morning without impatience. Back through the tall green passages, past the citrus trees with their small golden fruits, past the enormous umbrella leaves that make little shelters within the shelter. Past the fountain in its corner, still trickling, still counting nothing. And at last, back to the entrance. The great glass doors are closed. Beyond them, the stone steps shine wet under the last spill of lantern light. Beyond the steps, the garden path curves away into darkness, and every flagstone you walked upon tonight is now covered in a thin, moving film of rain. The garden is completely alone out there. The roses hold their heavy heads down. The boxwood hedges glisten. The wisteria drips steadily from 1,000 small points. The stone bench beneath the oak sits empty and patient beneath its coat of moss. The iron gate stands open, exactly as you left it, letting the rain pass through its bars without complaint. Everything out there is dark. Everything out there is wet. Everything out there is entirely, completely fine. And you are not out there. You are here. Your awareness returns slowly, drawn back like a thread being wound onto a spool. Back through the rooms, back through the scent of jasmine and soil and warm stone, back to the domed chamber, back to the woven rug, back to the deep green velvet chair, back into the shape of your own resting body. You settle into yourself again. And the fit is comfortable now. Earlier tonight, when you first walked through the wet garden, you were carrying something. You could not have described it. It had no name and no clear shape. It sat across your shoulders and behind your eyes and low in your stomach, and it made every step slightly heavier than it needed to be. It is not there anymore. You did not put it down deliberately. You did not solve it, or understand it, or work your way through it. The greenhouse simply took it from you, quietly, one room at a time, one breath at a time, the way rain takes dust from a leaf. Not by force. By patience. Now there is only your body in the chair. Only the blanket. Only the warmth. Only the rain. Your fingers have gone completely soft. The river stone rests in your open palm, warm now as skin, no longer separate from you. Your other hand lies open on the wool, fingers gently curled the way a child's hand curls in sleep. Your arms are heavy. Your shoulders are heavy. Your chest rises and falls beneath the blanket in long, unhurried movements. Your neck is completely supported. Your head rests back into the velvet, tilted slightly, cheek against softness. There is no strain anywhere in your face. Your brow is smooth. Your eyelids are still. Your mouth is soft. Your hips have sunk deep into the cushion. Your legs are long and heavy on the footstool. Your feet are warm. Every part of you is exactly where it should be, and none of it wants to move. The lantern beside you gives one small flicker, then steadies. Its light has grown so low that it no longer illuminates the room. It only marks a place. A small golden point in a wide green darkness. A companion. A quiet reminder that warmth continues even when it is barely visible. You are aware of it without looking. You are aware of the rain without listening. You are aware of the greenhouse without thinking. This is the deepest kind of rest, when awareness itself becomes soft and wide and requires nothing. You are not asleep. Not quite. But you are no longer keeping yourself awake. There is nothing left to keep. The doors are locked. The lanterns are low. The plants are breathing. The rain will continue all night. There is nothing for you to do. There has been nothing for you to do since the moment you stepped inside. You are simply beginning to believe it. Somewhere in the drifting dark behind your eyes, a slow thought forms, so soft it barely disturbs the surface of your mind. I could stay here. And the greenhouse, in its wordless way, answers. Yes. Stay. As long as you need. The rain agrees, pressing its long, steady hush against the glass. The chair agrees, holding your weight without effort. The blanket agrees, warm across your chest. The plants agree, exhaling their clean green air into the room, filling your lungs with the breath of living things. You are welcome here. Not as a visitor. As part of the room. Time loosens further. The rain seems to slow, though it has not. Or perhaps you have slowed, and the rain has simply matched you. It hardly matters. The two of you have found the same rhythm, the way two people walking together eventually fall into step without deciding to. In. And out. In. And out. The greenhouse breathes with you. The garden breathes with you. The rain falls, and falls, and falls. You feel yourself sinking. Not downward, exactly. Inward. Into a place beneath thought, beneath language, beneath even the soft images that drifted through your mind earlier. It is a quiet place. Warm. Dark green. Entirely safe. It has no walls, but it holds you completely. At the edges of this sinking, you notice small things and let them go. The weight of the blanket. Let it go. The texture of the velvet. Let it go. The scent of jasmine. Let it go. The sound of the rain. Let it stay. The rain may stay. The rain is welcome to follow you down. It will not wake you. It has no interest in waking anyone. It only wants to keep falling, softly, endlessly, all through this long green night. Your breathing slows to its deepest, quietest rhythm. The pauses between breaths grow longer. In one of those pauses, something releases in the very center of your chest, something you have been holding for far longer than tonight. It goes without ceremony. It simply leaves, the way a leaf leaves a branch when its season is complete, turning once in the warm air, drifting down, landing without sound. And in the space where it was, there is quiet. Deep quiet. Green quiet. Rain-filled quiet. You are so close to sleep now that the boundary hardly exists. You could cross it with a single breath. You may have already crossed it and returned. It no longer matters which side you are on, because both sides are warm, and both sides are safe, and both sides are filled with the sound of rain on old glass. The lantern burns lower. The shadows deepen. The white lilies float on their black water in the alcove. The jasmine releases its last full wave of fragrance into the dark. The greenhouse settles around you, glass and iron and leaf, holding its warmth against the wet night the way it has held it for 100 years. And you rest. Completely. The first part of the night is finished now. The arrival is over. The walking is over. The looking and noticing and discovering are over. You have found the chair. You have found the blanket. You have found the warmth and the sound and the safety. There is nothing more to find. What remains is only the night itself, long and dark and gentle, stretching ahead of you like a wide calm sea. You do not need to cross it. You only need to float. The rain will carry you. The greenhouse will keep you. The garden will keep gentle time. And nothing at all, is required of you tonight. Rest now. Sink down. Let the green dark hold you. The lantern flickers once more, very small, very gold, and the greenhouse breathes out slowly into the rain. The night has deepened. It is no longer the early part of the evening, when the rain first arrived and the lantern still burned bright. Now the darkness outside the glass has become complete, thick and velvet black, pressing gently against every pane. The rain continues without pause, but its voice has changed. It is slower, heavier, more intimate. Each drop seems to fall with greater intention, as though the sky itself has settled into a long, patient vigil. Inside the greenhouse, the air has grown even warmer and more humid. The warmth no longer feels like something added to the room. It feels like the room itself is breathing, slowly and steadily, the way a sleeping animal breathes. The plants have become part of this breathing. Every leaf, every stem, every hanging vine seems to expand and contract in a rhythm too slow to notice at first, but once felt, impossible to ignore. You remain in the deep green velvet chair, wrapped in the wool blanket, your body heavy and still. Your eyes are closed. Yet somehow, you can sense the change in the room more clearly than if you were looking with open eyes. The greenhouse has entered a different state. It is no longer simply sheltering you. It is living around you. A soft sound reaches you from somewhere to your left. It is the sound of a leaf moving. Not from wind. There is no wind inside the greenhouse. The movement is slower, more deliberate. A large, broad leaf is turning, very gradually, toward the faint glow of the remaining lantern light. You can almost hear the tiny muscles inside the plant working, the slow rotation of the stem, the quiet shifting of water within the cells. Then another sound. A faint, delicate click, like the softest snap of a tiny thread. It comes from the far side of the domed room, near the glass wall. You recognize the sound without needing to see it. A moonflower bud is opening. These flowers do not bloom during the day. They wait for darkness. All evening they have remained tightly closed, their long white petals wrapped around themselves like sleeping children. But now, in the deep hours of the night, they are beginning to wake. Another click. Then another. One by one, the moonflower buds are releasing their petals. The movement is almost too slow to perceive, yet the sound is unmistakable in the quiet room. Each petal unfurls with a patience that feels ancient. They stretch outward, pale and luminous, drinking in the darkness the way other flowers drink sunlight. You imagine them opening. Their centers are soft yellow, almost glowing in the low light. Their petals are long and graceful, curving gently like the fingers of an open hand. As each flower completes its opening, it releases a faint, sweet fragrance into the air. The scent is delicate, almost shy. It does not fill the room all at once. It drifts, slow and searching, until it finds you. The fragrance touches your senses gently. It smells of night gardens, of cool stone, of something ancient and clean. It mixes with the heavier scents already present, the damp earth, the green leaves, the sweet jasmine from the other room, until the entire greenhouse smells like a single living thing. You breathe it in. The scent moves through you and settles somewhere deep in your chest, loosening a tension you did not know was still there. Your body responds without your permission. Your shoulders drop another fraction. Your fingers, resting on the blanket, soften further. Your breathing lengthens. The plants are not just growing around you. They are responding to the night. In the sunken alcove, the white water lilies have opened even wider than before. Their petals are fully spread now, floating on the black water like small stars that have fallen from the sky. The surface of the pond is perfectly still, except for the occasional ripple caused by a drop falling from a hanging fern above. Each ripple moves outward in perfect circles, touching the edge of a lily pad before disappearing. Beyond the lilies, in the shadows near the brick archway, something else is happening. A cluster of small ferns is slowly uncurling. Their tight fiddleheads, which had remained closed all day, are now relaxing, millimeter by millimeter. The movement is so gradual that if you watched with open eyes, you might not notice it at all. But in the deep quiet of the night, with your body resting and your mind soft, you can feel the change happening. The greenhouse is not asleep. It is awake in its own way. A way that does not require movement or sound or urgency. A way that simply is. The plants are doing what they were always meant to do, breathing, growing, opening, drinking the darkness and the rain and the warmth. And because you are here, sitting very still inside their world, you have become part of that rhythm. Your own breath has begun to match theirs. You inhale when the room seems to expand. You exhale when it seems to settle. The boundary between your body and the air around you has grown thin. You are no longer certain where you end and the greenhouse begins. The warmth on your skin feels the same as the warmth rising from the terracotta tiles. The darkness behind your eyelids feels the same as the green shadows filling the corners of the room. This merging is not frightening. It is deeply comforting. For the first time in a very long time, you are not separate from the world around you. You are not an observer sitting inside a building made of glass and plants. You are part of the living space. A warm shape resting among other warm shapes. A breathing presence among other breathing presences. The rain continues its long, steady conversation with the glass above. But now the sound feels different. It no longer feels like something happening outside. It feels like the greenhouse itself is being gently touched, over and over, by 1,000 soft hands. The glass vibrates ever so slightly with each drop. That vibration travels down the iron beams, through the wooden shelves, into the soil, and finally into the roots of the plants. The plants feel the rain. And because you are connected to them now, you feel it too. A soft, rhythmic pulsing moves through your body in time with the rain. It is not your heartbeat. It is something larger. Something older. The pulse of the night itself, moving through glass and leaf and soil and skin. You do not try to understand it. You simply allow it. Another moonflower opens somewhere behind you. The sound is barely audible, yet it registers in your awareness like a small bell ringing very far away. The fragrance grows slightly stronger. It moves through the domed room in slow waves, wrapping around the hanging lanterns, drifting between the leaves, settling over your blanket like invisible mist. Your mind has become very quiet. Not empty. Simply spacious. Thoughts still appear from time to time, but they no longer stay. They rise like small bubbles in still water, reach the surface, and dissolve without a sound. There is no need to follow them. There is no need to push them away. They come and go on their own, leaving the deep water undisturbed. In this spacious quiet, you begin to notice new details. You notice the way the air moves across your face in the gentlest of currents, carrying different scents from different parts of the greenhouse. Near the jasmine room, the air is sweet. Near the orchid chamber, it is faintly earthy. Near the water lilies, it carries a cool, clean note, like wet stone after rain. You notice the temperature of the blanket. The wool is warm where it touches your chest and arms, but slightly cooler where it rests over your legs. The contrast is pleasant. It reminds you that you have a body, and that this body is safe and comfortable. You notice the weight of your head against the velvet. The chair supports you completely. There is no strain in your neck, no need to hold anything up. Gravity is doing all the work. You notice the stone still resting in your open palm. Its surface has become the same temperature as your skin. It no longer feels like something you are holding. It feels like part of your hand. These small observations do not pull you out of rest. They deepen it. Each detail you notice is another thread connecting you to the present moment, to this chair, to this rain-filled night. The greenhouse continues its slow awakening around you. In the far corner, near the workbench, a small pot of herbs releases its scent more strongly. Rosemary. The sharp, clean fragrance cuts through the sweetness of the flowers, grounding the air. It smells like memory. Like quiet mornings. Like hands working in soil. Further away, in the passage with the citrus trees, one of the small golden fruits has fallen from its branch. It landed softly in the dark soil below. Now its peel is slowly releasing a faint citrus scent into the warm air. The smell travels slowly, finding its way through the leaves and vines until it reaches the domed room. Orange and rosemary and jasmine and moonflower. All of them mixing together in the dark. All of them part of the same breath. You feel your body growing heavier still. The velvet chair seems to have grown deeper, as though it is gently pulling you downward into its softness. The blanket feels thicker. The rain feels closer. The darkness behind your eyes has become a rich, living green, the color of leaves seen through closed eyelids. This is not sleep yet, but it is the doorway to sleep. And the greenhouse is holding the door open for you. It will not rush you through. It will wait as long as you need. The moonflowers continue opening, one by one, their white petals stretching wider in the dark. Their fragrance grows stronger with each new bloom. Soon the entire dome chamber will be filled with it. The night-blooming flowers are offering their gift to the darkness, and you are receiving it without effort. Your breathing has become so slow that the pauses between each inhale and exhale feel long and peaceful. In those pauses, there is nothing. No sound. No thought. No sensation. Only a vast, soft stillness that stretches in every direction. It is in one of these long pauses that you feel it most clearly. The greenhouse is alive. Not in the way animals are alive. Not in the way people are alive. But in its own deep, patient, green way. It has been alive for many years. It will continue to be alive long after this night ends. And tonight, for these quiet hours, it is alive with you. You are not alone in the dark. You are held inside something that breathes. Something that opens its flowers only when the sun has gone. Something that welcomes rain on its glass and warmth in its soil and rest in its chairs. The night deepens further. The lanterns burn lower. The moonflowers open wider. And you rest, deeper than before, carried by the slow green breath of the greenhouse. There is a particular hour in every long night when the rain stops being weather and becomes music. You cannot say exactly when it happens. There is no announcement, no change in volume, no sudden shift in the falling of water. And yet, at some point during these deep hours, the sound crossing the glass above you stops being a collection of separate drops and becomes something whole. Something composed. Something with structure and movement and depth, as though the sky has been practicing this piece for a very long time and has finally decided to play it properly. You listen from the deep green chair, wrapped in wool, and you notice the layers. At the very bottom, beneath everything else, there is the low continuous hum. It comes from the whole surface of the dome at once, from every square inch of glass being struck at the same time by countless drops. Individually, each impact is nearly silent. Together, they create a single deep tone, soft and wide, like the sound inside a large seashell held against the ear. It never changes. It never pauses. It is the foundation of everything else. Above that foundation sits the middle voice. This is the sound of water in motion, the streams that gather on the curved glass and slide downward along the iron ribs. These streams have weight. They make a rushing, whispering sound as they travel, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes pausing entirely before continuing. They braid together and separate. They join and divide. This is the moving part of the music, the part that changes, the part your mind might follow if it still had the energy to follow anything. And above both of those, floating on top like light on water, is the high voice. The individual drops that strike bare glass with a bright, delicate tick. These are the sparkling notes, unpredictable and scattered, arriving from nowhere and vanishing instantly. One lands directly above your head. Another far across the dome. Another near the edge where the glass meets the old iron frame. Tick. Tick tick. Tick. 3 voices, then. Low, middle, high. Playing together without any conductor, without any score, without any intention of being heard. And yet the composition is perfect. No human musician could arrange it better. No instrument could reproduce it. It exists only here, only tonight, only in this exact combination of cloud and glass and iron and green shadow. You let it move through you. The low hum settles in your chest and belly, a warm vibration you feel more than hear. The middle voice moves along your arms and legs, flowing the way the water flows, unhurried and continuous. The high notes touch the surface of your mind, tiny bright points that appear and disappear too quickly to hold. Your body has become an instrument that plays nothing, only resonates. This is what deep listening does. It empties you. There is no room left for planning when the ears are full of rain. There is no space for worry when every layer of attention is occupied by water on glass. The mind, which spends its days building and defending and remembering, has finally been given something it cannot argue with. It surrenders. It listens. And in listening, it rests. Time passes. You do not know how much. Perhaps a few minutes. Perhaps an hour. The measurement has stopped mattering entirely. The lanterns have burned lower still, and the domed room has settled into a dim, green-gold dusk that feels less like a room and more like the inside of a deep forest at midnight. Something draws your attention toward the left side of the chamber. Not a sound exactly. More like an awareness. The sense that there is more to this greenhouse than you have discovered, that behind the curtain of tall ferns growing along the western wall, the building continues. You had not noticed it before. All evening the ferns had simply looked like a wall of green, dense and complete, their long fronds arching outward and downward, overlapping one another until no gap remained. But now, in the low light, you can see a faint difference in the darkness behind them, a slightly different quality of shadow. A hint of depth where there should be solid glass. There is a space back there. The realization arrives without urgency. You feel no need to jump up and investigate. Your body is far too heavy for that now, far too comfortable, far too deeply committed to the velvet and the wool and the warmth. But your awareness, which has grown light and untethered, can go without you. So it does. It rises from the chair without disturbing your body and drifts slowly across the woven rug toward the fern wall. The fronds part gently. Behind them, exactly as you sensed, there is an opening. A narrow gap between two iron support beams, half hidden by hanging greenery, leading into a small room you had not known existed. Your awareness moves through. The room beyond is the oldest part of the greenhouse. You understand this immediately, though you could not explain how. The air here is different, cooler, denser, more still. The rain sounds farther away, muffled by a lower ceiling and thicker glass. There is no lantern in this room, yet it is not entirely dark. A soft, pale luminescence comes from somewhere, gentle as moonlight through fog, though there is no moon tonight. The floor is made of large flat stones, ancient and uneven, worn into shallow depressions by generations of footsteps. Moss grows thickly in every seam, deep and springy, glowing faintly with that same soft light. Along the walls, wooden shelves sag under the weight of clay pots, hundreds of them, in every size, stacked and lined and nested together. Some hold plants. Many are empty, waiting patiently for a season that may or may not come. In the center of the room stands a long stone table. Its surface is covered with the quiet debris of decades of gentle work, small piles of dried seeds sorted into shallow wooden trays. Bundles of herbs hanging from a rack above, upside down, their leaves brittle and fragrant. Rolls of twine. A brass watering can, green with age. A pair of leather gloves, softened by use, resting palm up as though someone had just removed them. And along one entire wall, floor to ceiling, are hundreds of small wooden drawers. Each drawer bears a tiny brass frame holding a handwritten card. The same slow, rounded handwriting from the book of pressed leaves. You move closer, and the names come into focus one by one. Moonflower, collected in rain. Lemon balm, third summer. Fern spores, the north wall. Night jasmine, do not plant in sun. Foxglove, handle gently. Snowdrop, for the cold months. Chamomile, for tea and for sleep. Hundreds of drawers. Hundreds of names. Hundreds of small paper packets of seeds, each one containing an entire future garden folded into a space smaller than a fingernail. There is something almost unbearably tender about it. Someone spent a lifetime here. Collecting. Labeling. Sorting. Storing. Preparing for springs they might not live to see. Writing careful notes for hands that had not yet been born. Every drawer is an act of faith, a small, quiet belief that the world will continue, that the rain will keep falling, that somebody, someday, will open this drawer and plant what is inside. And tonight, in the deepest hours of a rainy night, you have found the room where all that patience is kept. You do not open any drawers. There is no need. The knowledge that they are there is enough. That behind the fern wall, in the oldest part of the greenhouse, someone has stored 1,000 possible gardens and left them waiting in the dark, safe and dry and utterly unhurried. Nothing here is in a rush. Nothing here has ever been in a rush. The seeds have waited years. They will wait years more. They do not consider this waiting to be a failure. It is simply what seeds do. They hold. They keep. They remain whole in the darkness until the conditions are right, and then, without complaint about the delay, they grow. Your awareness lingers in this room for a while, drifting slowly between the shelves, over the stone table, past the hanging herbs and their dry, faded fragrance. In one corner, a wooden ladder leans against the wall. In another, a stack of folded burlap sacks. Near the door, a broom with worn bristles rests against the frame. Everything is in its place. Everything has been in its place for a very long time. And then, gently, your awareness turns and drifts back out through the gap in the ferns, letting the green fronds close behind it like a curtain falling. It returns across the rug. It settles back into your body. And you find that something has changed while you were away. You feel heavier. Much heavier. As though the visit to that old, patient room has taken the last of your alertness with it and left it there among the seed drawers, safely stored, labeled, and put away for another day. Your body has sunk further into the velvet than you thought possible. The chair no longer feels like something you are sitting in. It feels like something you are part of. The blanket across your chest rises and falls with a slowness that seems to belong to a much larger creature than yourself. Your hands are gone. Not gone, you know they are there, resting on the wool, one open, one loosely holding the warm river stone. But you cannot feel their edges anymore. The sensation has softened until your hands are simply warm regions, without clear boundaries, merging with the blanket and the air. The same is happening to your feet, and your legs, and your shoulders. You are dissolving, gently, into the room. There is no fear in this. It is the opposite of fear. It is the sensation of a knot being untied slowly by patient fingers, of a fist that has been clenched for years finally opening, of a held breath finally released. The rain plays on. Low hum. Middle voice. High scattered notes. Pitch rush. Tick. Tick tick. In the sunken alcove, the water lilies float wide open on their black mirror. In the dome chamber, the moonflowers have finished their opening and now hold themselves fully spread, pale and luminous, releasing their fragrance in slow, invisible waves. In the jasmine room, the candle has gone out on its own, leaving only a thin ribbon of smoke and the lingering sweetness of warm wax. In the old room behind the ferns, 1,000 seeds rest in the dark, waiting without impatience. And in the deep green velvet chair, beneath a heavy wool blanket, you rest too. Waiting for nothing, needing nothing. Simply held, in the warm, breathing dark, while the sky above pours its long, slow music down across 100 panes of old glass. Your breathing slows further. The pauses between breaths grow longer, wider, softer. In one of those pauses, the sound of the rain seems to expand until it fills not only the room but the whole inside of your mind, leaving no space for anything else at all. And that is exactly as it should be. Rest. Deeper now. The night is long, and it is entirely yours. There comes a moment in the deepest part of rest when the body forgets its edges. It does not happen all at once. It happens the way fog happens, first a softness at the farthest places, then a slow filling in, until what was once a clear outline becomes a gentle blur. You notice it first in your hands. The river stone is still there, resting in your palm, but you can no longer tell where the stone ends and your skin begins. Both are the same temperature. Both are still. Both belong to the same quiet weight. The wool of the blanket has become part of that weight too. Fingers, stone, fabric, they have merged into one warm, resting presence at the end of your arm. Then the arm itself begins to soften. You know, in some distant way, that you have an elbow, a shoulder, a wrist. But the knowledge is theoretical now, like remembering the name of a town you left years ago. The actual sensation has become something much simpler. Warmth. Heaviness. Stillness. Nothing more is required. Your legs follow. The footstool beneath them is no longer a separate object. It is simply the place where the heaviness of your lower body meets a firm, kind support. Your calves, your knees, your thighs have given up the work of being distinct. They have become a long, continuous warmth, draped and held, with no need to arrange themselves. Your chest rises and falls. You can still feel that. The slow expansion. The slower release. But even this has changed. The breath no longer feels like something you are doing. It feels like something the room is doing through you. Air comes in from the greenhouse, warm and green and faintly sweet. Air leaves you and joins the greenhouse again. There is no ownership in it. No effort, just the tide moving through a quiet shore. And then your face. The velvet against your cheek. The stillness of your brow. The complete rest of your eyelids. These, too, begin to lose their borders. Your face is no longer a collection of features. It is simply the front of the warmth, turned slightly toward the dark, receiving the scent of moonflowers and wet soil and rain-cooled glass. You are becoming the chair. Or the chair is becoming you. The distinction no longer seems important. Around you, the greenhouse has grown even quieter, though the rain has not lessened. The sound is so constant now that it has become a kind of silence, the way a waterfall, heard long enough, stops being noise and becomes the background of everything. The low hum of 1,000 drops on glass. The middle rush of water finding its paths. The high, scattered ticks. All of it woven into one continuous fabric of sound, and you are wrapped inside that fabric as surely as you are wrapped inside the blanket. A soft mist has gathered in the lower parts of the room. You cannot see it with your eyes closed, but you can feel it. The air against your skin has grown slightly denser, slightly cooler at the edges, slightly warmer at the center. It is the breath of the plants, held close by the glass, thickened by the night and the rain. It moves so slowly that it hardly seems to move at all. It simply is, a green, living fog that fills the spaces between pots and leaves and iron beams. And now it begins to fill the space where you are. Not covering you. Becoming you. The mist touches the backs of your hands and they grow even less distinct. It gathers around your shoulders and the last remaining sense of holding yourself upright dissolves. It moves across your chest, and your breath and the mist become the same thing. You are floating. Not in water. Not in air. In something in between. A warm, green suspension. Gravity is still there, but it has become kind. It does not pull you down so much as it holds you in place, the way a hammock holds a sleeping body, the way still water holds a fallen leaf. There is no need to swim. There is no need to stay afloat. You are already held. In this floating, images come, but they are not like ordinary thoughts. They are slower, wider. They have no plot. They do not ask to be understood. You are a leaf on the surface of the lily pond, turning very slightly as a drop falls nearby. You are a drop of rain on the outside of the glass, sliding down, joining another drop, becoming a thin silver stream. You are the warmth inside a terracotta pot, rising slowly through dark soil toward a sleeping root. You are the root, drinking without thirst, growing without hurry, existing without any need to be seen. Each image lasts only as long as a breath. Then it fades back into the green mist. Then another arrives. None of them stay. None of them need to stay. The moonflowers have reached their fullest opening now. Their pale petals are wide, almost luminous in the dark, and their fragrance has become part of the mist itself. You do not smell it so much as you inhabit it. It is in the air you float in. It is in the warmth around your face. It is in the slow tide of your breath. Somewhere, a fern frond releases a single gathered drop. The drop falls. It lands in soil. The sound is so small it is almost not a sound at all, more like a punctuation mark at the end of a very long, very quiet sentence. Then the rain continues. You float a little deeper. The sense of having a body has now become very faint, like a memory of a memory. What remains is a general warmth, a general softness, a general being held. If someone asked you where your left foot was, you would not be able to point to it. Not because it is gone, but because it has been gathered into the larger rest, the way a single note is gathered into a chord. This is not disappearance. This is belonging. You belong to the chair. You belong to the blanket. You belong to the mist. You belong to the rain. You belong to the long green night. And the night belongs to you in return, without asking anything, without keeping score, without needing you to be anyone in particular. Just this. Just here. Just floating. The lantern beside you has burned so low that its flame is barely a point. It does not light the room anymore. It only exists, a tiny gold companion in the wide dark, the way a distant star exists, not to illuminate, but simply to be there, quietly, for anyone who happens to be resting beneath it. You do not look at it. You do not need to. You know it is there the way you know the rain is there, the way you know the greenhouse is there, the way you know you are safe. Knowing without looking. Resting without holding. Floating without trying. Your breath has become so slow that each cycle feels like a small season. Inhale, a long, warm spring. Pause, a still, green summer. Exhale, a slow, releasing autumn. Pause, a deep, quiet winter. Then spring again. The greenhouse breathes the same seasons with you. The plants inhale what you give. You inhale what they give. The mist carries both. The rain falls on all of it equally, without preference, without pause. In the old room behind the ferns, the seeds wait in their drawers. In the jasmine room, the candle is out. In the alcove, the lilies float. In the chair, you float. All of you waiting. All of you held. All of you, for this hour, the same kind of living stillness. A thought tries to form, something about morning, something about leaving, something about the path back through the garden. It rises like a small bubble. It reaches the surface of the mist. It pops, silently. It is gone. Nothing follows it. The space where it was fills immediately with rain sound and warmth and the faint sweetness of night flowers. You float on. Deeper. Softer. Less outlined than before. The velvet of the chair, the wool of the blanket, the stone in your palm, the mist in the air, the rain on the glass, they have all become one continuous field of comfort. You are not in the field. You are the field. A warm region of rest inside a larger rest, indistinguishable, unhurried, complete. There is no next thing to do. There is no next place to go. There is only this green floating, this rain music, this long, kind night that has made a room for you out of glass and leaves and patience. The rain says stay. The mist says rest. The greenhouse says you are already home. And you, no longer quite a separate self, no longer quite a body in a chair, no longer quite anything that needs a name, simply continue. Floating. Warm, held. Safe. The night goes on. The rain goes on. And you, at last, go with them. The rain has been falling for so long now that it feels as though it has always been falling. It is difficult to remember a time before this sound. A time before the old glass roof held the sky above you. A time before the green velvet chair, before the warm wool blanket, before the scent of moonflowers opening in the dark. The world beyond the greenhouse has become very far away, softened by rain and distance and sleepiness until it feels more like a dream than a place. There may be streets somewhere. There may be clocks. There may be rooms with bright lights, and voices, and lists, and unfinished things waiting on tables. But none of that can reach you here. Not tonight. Tonight, there is only the greenhouse. Only the rain. Only the warm, green darkness. The steady sound on the glass has become deeper than listening now. You no longer hear it with your ears alone. You feel it behind your eyes. You feel it in your chest. You feel it in the quiet spaces between each breath. It is like a gentle tide moving through the entire room, washing over the leaves, the stones, the pots, the old iron beams, the sleeping soil, and finally over you. Every thought that rises is touched by the rain. And every thought that is touched by the rain becomes soft. A thought appears, small, pale, unfinished. Before you can know what it is, rain washes over it. It blurs. It loosens. It dissolves. Another thought appears behind it, perhaps a memory, perhaps a plan, perhaps only a fragment of a sentence your mind began earlier in the day and forgot to finish. The rain reaches it too. The edges fade. The center becomes transparent. It disappears into the sound. You do not need to push anything away. You do not need to clear your mind by force. The rain is doing it for you, slowly and kindly, with the patience of water. It does not demand silence. It simply falls, and falls, and falls, until everything not needed for rest becomes too light to remain. Your mind is becoming like the outside of the glass. At first, each drop was separate. Each trail visible. Each movement clear. But now the surface is covered with water, all the separate paths joining into one flowing veil. Nothing sharp remains. Nothing holds its individual shape for long. Everything moves together downward, gently, toward release. Inside you, it is the same. Old worries lose their outlines. Small regrets lose their weight. Plans for tomorrow lose their urgency. Even the idea of yourself, your name, your roles, your responsibilities, the face you show the world, becomes faint and distant, like writing seen through rain on a window. You are not required to remember who you are right now. You are only required to rest. And even that is not required. It is simply happening. The mist in the greenhouse has thickened slightly, gathering near the floor and drifting between the legs of the table, around the base of the chair, over the woven rug. It rises in slow, invisible layers, not enough to hide the room, but enough to soften every edge. The pots look rounder. The shadows look deeper. The lantern flame looks more like a memory of light than light itself. If your eyes were open, you might see the moonflowers glowing dimly along the glass wall, their white petals open and still. You might see the lily pond, black and mirror smooth, holding the shapes of blossoms and lanterns and old iron ribs. You might see the ferns hanging heavy with condensation, each frond bowed slightly beneath the weight of gathered water. But your eyes remain closed, and the room inside your mind is enough. There, behind your eyelids, the greenhouse becomes vast. Larger than the glass structure in the garden. Larger than the estate, larger than the night outside, larger than memory. It becomes a landscape of green darkness and warm mist, endless and gentle. There are paths made of moss. There are pools of still water. There are arches woven from vines, and everywhere, overhead, the sound of rain continues on unseen glass. You drift through this inner greenhouse without walking. You move without a body, or perhaps you do not move at all, and the greenhouse slowly unfolds around you. A corridor of ferns appears, their fronds brushing the air like soft feathers. At the end of it, a lantern glows behind fogged glass, dim and golden. You do not need to reach it. Its light comes to you. Then the corridor dissolves. A pond appears, dark and perfectly still, covered in floating lily pads. White flowers open on its surface. They are quiet, patient, luminous. A single drop falls into the water, and the ripple moves outward, widening, widening, widening until it passes through the whole pond and fades into nothing. Then the pond dissolves. A seed drawer opens silently in the old room behind the ferns. Inside is a small paper packet labeled in careful handwriting. The packet contains 100 sleeping seeds, each one holding a forest of possibility inside its tiny body. They wait in darkness, and their waiting is peaceful. They do not feel forgotten. They do not feel late. Then the drawer closes. The old room dissolves. The chair returns. The blanket returns. The rain returns, though it had never left. Your breath is so quiet now that it feels less like breathing and more like being breathed. The warm greenhouse air enters you slowly, carrying scents too soft to separate: jasmine, wet stone, green leaves, rosemary, old wood, damp earth, moonflower. The air stays for a moment, becoming part of you. Then it leaves, carrying away what your body no longer needs. Inhale. The garden gives. Exhale. You release. Inhale. The greenhouse receives you. Exhale. You become lighter. Again. And again. And again. The rhythm continues without effort. You could stop paying attention completely and it would go on. The body knows how to rest. The lungs know how to breathe. The heart knows how to slow. The mind knows how to soften when it is no longer asked to hold the whole world at once. You are no longer holding the world. The world is holding you. The rain holds the roof. The roof holds the warmth. The warmth holds the plants. The plants hold the air. The air holds your breath. The chair holds your body. The night holds all of it, layer by layer, support beneath support, kindness beneath kindness, until there is nothing left for you to carry. Nothing. Nothing at all. A very deep quiet opens beneath the rain. You sense it first as a pause, but it is not the absence of sound. The rain continues. The fountain continues its tiny trickle far away. Leaves occasionally release drops into soil. The building settles softly around its old iron bones. But beneath those sounds is a silence so steady that it seems older than the greenhouse, older than the garden, older than rain. It is the silence of roots underground, the silence of seeds before germination, the silence of water held in clouds before falling, the silence of sleep before dreams begin. You sink toward that silence, not falling, not leaving, just sinking, the way a smooth stone sinks through deep, clear water. Down through the warm surface, down through the green reflections, down past floating stems and quiet roots, down where no light is needed, down where everything is still. The rain remains above you, a soft silver ceiling. The chair remains around you, a dark velvet shore. The blanket remains across you, warm and heavy. But your awareness has moved deeper than all of them, into a place that cannot be seen and does not need description. Here, thoughts cannot follow. They try, perhaps, but they become too slow, too heavy, too transparent. They fall away before reaching you. Words cannot follow either. Words belong to the surface, to the world of names and explanations. Here, beneath the green quiet, there is no need to name anything. Rain is not called rain. Rest is not called rest. You are not called by your name. Everything simply is. Soft, warm, safe, still. For a while, there is almost nothing. Almost no image. Almost no sensation. Almost no separation. Only a dim awareness of being held in a vast, gentle dark. This is the deepest edge of waking, the place where sleep begins to breathe beside you. You can feel sleep there, close as another room beyond the curtain. It does not pull. It does not demand. It simply waits, dark and soft, with its door open. You are already near the threshold. So near that the difference between resting and sleeping has become very thin. You may cross it at any time. Or you may remain here, floating in the doorway. Either is perfect. The greenhouse does not mind. The rain does not mind. Nothing in the night is asking you to hurry. Somewhere above, a stronger stream of water slides down the glass dome, gathering from many smaller trails into one smooth ribbon. It moves slowly at first, then faster, following the curve of the roof, passing over the old iron frame with a soft rushing sound. The sound spreads through your mind like a hand moving across a page, erasing the last visible writing. Whatever remained is gone. The page is clean. The mind is clean. Not empty in a cold way. Empty like a bowl ready to receive. Empty like a room with fresh sheets and an open window. Empty like the sky after rain has passed, though the rain has not passed yet. It is still falling. Still falling. Still falling. And every drop says the same thing in a different voice. Let go. Let go. Let go. You do. Not because you decide to. Because there is no reason not to. Your body lets go of its last small effort. Your face becomes even softer. Your jaw hangs loose and comfortable. Your tongue rests quietly. Your throat opens. Your shoulders spread into the chair. Your spine releases downward, vertebra by vertebra, into the support beneath you. Your belly softens completely beneath the blanket. Your hips are heavy. Your legs are heavy. Your feet are warm and distant. Your hands are open. The stone in your palm rests there, but you are no longer holding it. It is simply being held with you. Everything is being held with you. The book of pressed leaves. The bowl of stones. The teapot in the jasmine room. The seed drawers behind the ferns. The orchids hanging in their humid chamber. The water lilies in the dark pond. The moonflowers against the glass. The old doors at the entrance. The wet garden path outside. The roses. The hedges. The oak tree. The mossy bench. All of it rests. All of it is washed by the same rain. All of it belongs to the same night. And because you belong to the night too, there is nothing left to resist. You drift closer to sleep. The rain becomes softer, though perhaps it is only farther away now. The scent of flowers becomes softer. The feeling of the blanket becomes softer. Even the sense of being safe becomes softer, no longer a thought, no longer a reassurance, simply the background truth of everything. Safe. Held. Warm. Quiet. Green. Rain. The words come apart. Safe becomes a feeling. Held becomes the chair. Warm becomes the air. Quiet becomes the room. Green becomes the dark. Rain becomes everything. And then even that fades. For a few breaths, there is no story. No listener. No greenhouse. Only the slow, gentle turning of the body towards sleep. Then, from very far away, the greenhouse returns just enough to guide you. A tiny drip from a leaf. A soft slide of water on glass. A faint sweetness of moonflower. A heavy comfort of wool. These small signals say, you are still here. You are still safe. You may go deeper. So you do. A little deeper. Then a little deeper still. Into the place where dreams are waiting, not yet formed, like seeds in the dark. They do not bloom yet. They only wait. And waiting, here, is peaceful. Everything waits peacefully. The rain waits while falling. The seeds wait while sleeping. The flowers wait while open. The greenhouse waits while breathing. And you wait while drifting, with no impatience, no effort, no sense that anything should be different from how it is. This is rest beyond relaxation. This is the place where the body remembers itself, where the mind no longer needs to guide every breath, where the heart beats quietly in its own hidden room, where the nervous system lowers its lantern and whispers, finally, yes. Yes to sleep. Yes to stillness. Yes to being held. Yes to the rain. Yes to the green dark. The night answers with more rain. Not louder. Not softer. Just continuing. Always continuing. A sound without judgment, a rhythm without end, a kindness without words. You are almost asleep now. Perhaps already asleep in small waves, dipping below and rising again, each time returning with less of yourself, each time leaving more at the threshold. This is how sleep receives you, gently, gradually, without closing a door too quickly. It lets you come and go until you no longer need to come back. One wave, then another, then another. Each wave carries away a little more awareness, a little more body, a little more thought. The greenhouse remains as the last soft image, old glass jeweled with rain, green leaves shining in lantern dusk, white moonflowers open in the dark, a deep chair near the window, and you resting there, wrapped in warmth, perfectly still. Then the image blurs. The lantern becomes a golden dot. The leaves become green shadow. The rain becomes a single endless hush. And you become the hush as well. No edges. No effort. No need. Only sleep approaching through warm mist, with rain in its hands and flowers in its hair. Let it come. Let it come quietly. Let it sit beside you. Let it cover you gently. Let it take your name for a while and place it safely in the drawer with the seeds, where everything waits unharmed until morning. You do not need your name tonight. You do not need your thoughts. You do not need your tasks. You do not need your bright, waking self. You need only this dark, soft self. This breathing self. This resting self. This self that belongs to rain and glass and moonflower fragrance. And even this self may now be set down. Set it down in the chair. Set it down beneath the blanket. Set it down beside the river stone. Set it down in the warm green room where nothing can be lost. The rain will watch over it. The greenhouse will keep it safe. The night will remember where it is. And you may go on. Deeper. Softer. Farther into sleep. The rain washes the last thought away, and after it, there is only peace.